What are some of the advantages you've experienced in today's culture in being single?
Being single, what I have found is that I have a lot more time. And so for me, I think a question is just, how am I spending my time? Am I doing that in a way that honors God with that little bit of extra time that I have throughout my week?
Like tomorrow, something happens and then the Lord calls you to go another place. You don't have anything like that is gonna tell you like, oh, no. It's kind of like when you can give 100% of who you are, what you have on the table, to the Lord.
When you are feeling maybe lonely or are feeling, discouraged, what goes on in your mind, your heart? How do you navigate those waters?
Went through a divorce and it was really rough, and there were a lot of weekends where I would wind up doing work on the weekends or whatever else, and that only takes you so far. And then there was a lot of loneliness that went with that. And so coming and finding a group where people know you, they know your name, you join in things going on, whether it's a Bible study or whether it's a hike, it's just important, I think, to find fellowship and friends, which we have found, here at the church through a D group.
Do you think it's a stereotype that single people are lonely people?
I think single people are no more lonely than married people are. A lot of it is in your expectation. Because you can be lonely if you're thinking you should be out doing something, and maybe that's a point when you need to be resting with the Lord.
You've heard it said before, the idea of being content in singleness. And so if somebody stopped you on the street and said, hey, what does that mean?
For me, a lot of why I was discontent is I want somebody to love me. I want somebody to be there for me. I want somebody to, tell me all these things to kind of reassure me.
Paul says, I learned the secret to being content. And I'll be honest, it is so hard. I mean, I battle with it on a daily basis. If I'm not abiding in the Lord, surrounding myself with friends.
I think it's probably unhelpful for Christians to talk about singleness like it's a season. I know I've definitely talked about it like that at times. I think it's probably not super helpful to do that though.
I think as we talk about singleness as a season, we are teaching single people, whether we say it out loud or not, that there's still something for them to attain.
For me, this may be it, and I can be content with that. But but if I go into it in a mindset, well, I've got 3 years, I need to break out of this season. That, to me, that's a wrong goal for me.
Have there been moments when you felt invisible, or again, is that a stereotype?
We put a lot of emphasis on families. And a lot of times it can seem like, hey, we are going to invest our time and our energy in families, which I 100% agree with. That's what I do for my job. But sometimes I think in those settings, it can seem like, hey, and all the single people are over here.
In my experience, singles groups have been more like, let's all throw them together and just kind of see if they'll get along and see who gets married. And it's a little bit more of that mindset than like, okay, these are people that are wanting to find ways to glorify God, without having a partner right now.
To say I'm single or I'm married does not really speak to your identity at all, because having been married and being single, I'm the same person I was before I was married to begin with. And then when I was married, I was still the same person, and God's working on me. And then now that I'm single again, I'm still the same person. And who I am did not change because those circumstances changed.